right, so let's talk about the governor's race. It has been identified by most major networks and most major political entities as probably the most important governor's race in the country without fail. And let's not make any mistake about it. The two candidates you're going to meet here are by far the best candidates we have ever put forward for the corner office. That all the hard work that Senator Stiles, that Representative Smith and Representative Murphy have put forth have sadly, for the most part, been blocked by one man. Against the will, mostly, of the people of the state of New Hampshire. Overwhelmingly, almost every piece of legislation he vetoed was supported by the citizens of the state of New Hampshire. It is imperative that we take over that corner office without fail, without reservation. So these next two candidates are vying for that seat. And as I said, the Republican Party couldn't have two finer candidates running for this seat. The first one I'm going to introduce you to is Kevin Smith. He's a candidate for the office of governor in New Hampshire. Of course, Kevin is a well-respected and effective advocate for the New Hampshire citizens. In 1997, Kevin served in the New Hampshire House of Representatives. He has since served in the state and in his party in many capacities, including as governor liaison with the former Governor Greg Benson and on various commissions in the state. Most recently, Kevin served as the executive director of Cornerstone Action, a conservative organization that is dedicated to the policies of free markets, limited government, and personal responsibility. During his term in office, in Cornerstone grew tenfold, and Kevin was recognized as one of the 10 most influential people in New Hampshire. Kevin attended UNH Manchester and is currently the president of Smith Enterprises, a government and public relations consulting firm. Kevin and his wife Susie live in Litchfield with their 3 children. Ladies and gentlemen, gubernatorial candidate Kevin Smith.
Jeff and Diane and everyone involved with the Rye GOP. It is great to be here on the Seacoast today. I come to you from the little land of Litchfield, located just outside of Manchester, with some good news. Change is on the way. Real change is on the way. Change is on the way to 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue when we elect a new President of the United States in Mitt Romney. Change is on the way to 107 North Main Street in Concord when we put a Republican back in the corner office. Now folks, I'm running for governor because in my humble opinion, it is time we replace the milquetoast leadership that has characterized the corner office for the last 8 years with a governor who is decisive, who is principled, and who's going to get something done for a change. We need a governor in the corner office who's going to get more done in 2 years than what John Lynch got done in 8 years, which frankly shouldn't be all that hard to do. But we can start off number one by getting New Hampshire out of Obamacare, repealing Reggie, passing voter ID, and making New Hampshire the first right-to-work state in the Northeast. I've been traveling all around this state. In fact, tomorrow we have our first town hall we're doing in Kingston. It's one of 14 we're going to be doing over the next 2 months, and we already have them all lined up. And I've been talking to people about my long-term vision and my specific plan called New Hampshire's Future is Now. And it's a plan to lead us into a new era of prosperity in this state. It's a plan that boldly says we're going to lower our taxes on businesses and corporations, the business profits tax and the business enterprise tax. We're going to lower both of those taxes by the year, phasing them down by the year 2020 so that businesses can grow more and create more jobs here in the state of New Hampshire and make us a more economically competitive state with our surrounding states. It's a plan that modernizes state government, invests in upfront technologies, and also makes it more transparent and accountable to the taxpayers by doing what I did when I helped run a state agency, which is implementing a system of metrics across all departments and state governments so the taxpayers know what their return on investment is. It's a plan that lowers healthcare costs by inviting competition into the marketplace, allowing businesses and consumers to purchase health insurance across state lines so that we have more companies competing and lowering health insurance costs. And it's a plan that lowers electric rates in this state. We pay some of the highest electric rates as a state right here in New Hampshire. And it's about time that we allow the public utilities to purchase electricity at the cheapest rates possible, rather than subsidizing these alternative forms of energy, which we've been doing as ratepayers. Let them all play on an even playing field. And it's a plan to keep more of our young people here in the state of New Hampshire. We're losing too many right now after they graduate from school. And so it's a plan that has private-public partnerships between businesses, entrepreneurs, but our university system, our community colleges, and our VOTEC centers, so that we make sure we're putting students on a career path where the 21st century jobs are going to be after they graduate, so that they can raise a family right here in New Hampshire. And we believe all of these things as Republicans because we know it is not state government that is going to create jobs, but it is state government that creates the environment and the atmosphere for good jobs to be created in the private sector. Right. And there's no reason in my opinion that companies, if we do all of these things, that companies from south of the border in Massachusetts shouldn't be flocking to New Hampshire. You know, I've said as governor, if I'm not Governor Deval Patrick's worst nightmare, then I'm not doing my job very well. Okay? Because it's high time that the citizens in this state stop paying income tax to the People's Republic of Massachusetts. That's what I said. Now folks, look, if I'm fortunate enough to be your nominee this coming fall, and I get to go toe-to-toe with one of the taxing twins, either Maggie Hassan or Jackie Silly, I will take every opportunity to remind the public, just as I did during their time in the state senate, day in and day out, of every job-killing, business-busting, tax-hiking, nanny-stating, Debbie Downer policy these two ever voted for. Okay? You like apples, Rye? You like apples? A tax on LLCs, a tax on campgrounds, a tax on lottery winnings, rooms and meals, car registration, electricity rates. If it moved, they were taxing it. How do you like them apples? All right? The Democrats at that time, they even wanted to tax helium balloon. If you allowed a helium balloon to go, I know I have 1 minute, thanks for the reminder. If they wanted to allow helium balloons to go into the air, they wanted to tax that. And I said, this would have cost me a whole lot of money, because I got 3 small kids who love parades and they don't hold on to balloons very well. Ladies and gentlemen, we simply cannot afford to go backwards in this state by having one of them become our next governor. And I'm running to be your next governor because I have the long-term vision, the energy, and the experience to lead us into that new era of prosperity. I will use my experience as a former state legislator, as someone who worked as an assistant to a U.S. senator and a former governor, as someone who worked and helped run a state agency and got good reforms on the inside, and someone who fought for good conservative policy on the outside as well. And you have my word, I will not check my principles at the door. I'm running as a Republican, I will win as a Republican, and I will govern and serve on Republican principles and values. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, my website is kevinsmithforgovernor.com. Please go on there, check out my plans, sign up for our emails, make a $5,000 donation, whichever way you're feeling moved to do so. Thank you all very much for having me today. God bless you.
GrokTV.